Yo, what's going on, you guys? Your boy Devvon in raw form, and welcome to another Help Me Devvon raw tutorial. And today, in this Help Me Devvon raw tutorial, I'll be showing you guys 3 tips to make your vocals more interesting. Check this out. So first thing first, I'm going to show you the vocal that we'll be using. It's one of my own songs. Listen closely.
This situation is so brand new. Yeah. I wanna tell everyone about you. I can't get enough of you. Yeah.
Okay, so you hear the vocal. It's a smooth R&B style of vocal, but what I'm about to show you is for everyone. Any style of music or anything that you're into for the most part. Now, the first thing I think about when I think about vocals and how to make them more interesting is reverbs and delays. It's the most common thing when it comes to effects, when it comes to making your vocals stand out a little bit more, or just putting them in a different space, or just making them more interesting. Now, what if I was to take this a step further and basically affect the effect? Check this out. So if you come on right over here, I'm going to play this for you with the effect and without the effect. What we're going to be doing with this first effect is on the delay. So I'm going to affect the delays. I'm going to affect the effect. So on the delay, you're going to hear a regular delay, which I'm going to exaggerate just a little bit so you can hear it. And then I'm going to bypass back and forth the sound effect that I have on the delay. Check this out.
This situation is so brand new. Yeah. I wanna tell everyone about you. I can't get enough of you. Yeah. But we both know this feeling, cause it isn't the first time that you had somebody hit you with that good morning text. When I'm laying with you and I tell you it's more than sex.
So if you listen to that closely, what you heard was that delay get wider. It felt like it was more all-encompassing of the lead vocal. It even felt like the lead vocal had more room to live, and it felt like the delay kind of just carved out its own space. For this first tip, what I did was I used a stereo widening plugin on my actual delay, which allowed it to open up and widen those delays. It even felt like it felt a little bit more warmer, and it just has a cool and makes the vocal sound a lot more interesting now that we have this huge stereo feel that we've just added to it. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to ask you guys to subscribe and like this video. And also you can visit helpmedevon.info for a lot of our vocal chains, templates, presets, and we pretty much supply for mostly every single DAW. It's in the description below, and join our Discord community in the bottom. Now, how did I use this? How did I affect the effect for this first tip for the stereo widening? I'm going to show you this right now. So first thing I did was I came on over to this S1 imager, and I love to do this when it comes to my delays. I love to put stereo widening plugins on my delays to make them sound wider. What I did was I came right over here to this S1 imager, and I cranked the width knob on this way up to get it to sound wider. On top of that, what I also did was I used a center plugin, and I like the center plugin because it allows me to affect my center and my sides separately mid-side. So what I did was I cranked up the side information on the delay, which allowed to give more of a sense of stereo and a whiff kind of feeling to the actual delay that was already present. On top of that, I took the center of that and I brought it down a little bit, which helped to carve out more space for the middle of the actual vocal and kind of leave that stuff alone and kind of push it straight to the sides. Thus, we're left with this effect.
This situation is so brand new. Yeah. I wanna tell everyone about you. I can't get enough of you. Yeah. But we both know this feeling, cause it isn't the first time that you had some.
So a softer feeling, a wider feeling, a more depth kind of feeling. It's really, really interesting, and it's a cool effect that you can use in your own special way for your delays. Next thing I did was, or next effect that I'm a really big fan of is staying on the delays, is modulation effects. And when I talk about modulation effects, I'm referring to phasers, flangers, those types of things. Now, sometimes, or honestly, a lot of times, I like to put my modulation effects on the delays. I am affecting the effect. This is the whole premise of this entire thing. Affecting the effect, not just slapping it on like a delay, adding a little bit of EQ to clean it up, and just leaving your settings as is. This is a really kind of stylistic approach that you can go for. So check this out. I have a modulation effect right here. This is one of my favorite. This is called the Real ADT. I love this thing right here. check out what it has the delay sounding like. Now, remember, I did exaggerate this delay. It's extremely, it's pretty loud within the premise of this video, but I did it so you could really hear what's going on. Check out what this thing does to the delay.
This situation is so brand new. Yeah. I wanna tell everyone about you.
Really, really sick sound effect. It kind of has like this phasey, wavy kind of feel. It makes the vocal feel like it's swimming, and it just has a really, really interesting sound. I can even go over here right to the presets, and we could choose something else. One sec. Let's pick this one right here. Let's pick the pads move. Check this out.
This situation is so brand new. Yeah. I wanna tell everyone about you. I can't get enough of you. Yeah. But we both know this feeling, cause it isn't the first time.
Really, really interesting sound. It made it sound wider. It gave it this sense of movement. And this is a really easy way to add movement, space, all kinds of things to your delays with just adding some modulation effects like phasers and flangers and all kinds of things. Now, basically, you could use any of your flangers that you have in your DAW or your phasers or any type of modulation effects that you have that create movement in those types of things with your delays. And this makes it super interesting. If you're looking for a really funky way to just add some space or creativity to your delays, I highly recommend stereo widening. And secondly, I recommend modulation effects. It will change everything. Third tip and last, but most certainly not least, is EQ and compression to the effect. So affecting the effects. So a lot of people I know do it this way. A lot of people will take their EQ and they'll put it after their reverb. And the reason why people do this is because, or if you didn't know, it's really commonplace to put your EQ after your reverb to basically clean that stuff up and basically put a low pass and a high pass to make sure that the low information doesn't muddy up the mix, and the high information, those bright parts of your vocal, still shine through. So it's really commonplace to put a low and a high cut just to basically balance that out and only affect a certain region of the vocal. So I do this, but instead, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take the EQ and put it before the reverb so that it assures me that I'm making sure that I get rid of that low and high stuff before it even hits the reverb. Now, that's one thing that I do. Second thing is compressing your reverb. Now, this is a really interesting technique, and the reason why is because if you want to get more tail out of your reverb, or you want to get more of those nuances out of your reverb that feel like they just hang and sit and move, this is a really good idea or good trick to use: compression and EQ. So check this out. I'm going to bypass the compression. I'll explain it in detail, and I want you to hear what it sounds like without the compression. Check this out. Without the compression and the EQ.
This situation is so brand new. Yeah. I wanna tell everyone about you. I can't get enough of you.
Now with.
This situation is so brand new. Yeah. I wanna tell everyone about you. I can't get enough of you. Yeah.
This thing brought out so many beautiful nuances within the reverb, and it can be really sick to use at moments. So I like to do this and use this for moments. What the compression did was it brought out those subtleties, the tail of the reverb that help to hang on your ear, as well as the EQ. It helps to maintain and make sure that not so much of a muddy signal cuts through your actual reverb. Now, it's not wrong to put a EQ after your reverb. It's just sometimes in my head, I think to myself, well, if it doesn't exist within it at all, I think that I have an even better chance of making sure that that muddiness of reverbs doesn't really get into my signal. I probably would put another EQ after it just to make sure, but I'd like to put it right before I notice that it gets a really clean sound, because it just doesn't exist. Nothing below there exists and nothing above there exists, so it's not being affected. Now, what I did was, instead of using a typical compressor, I got myself an upward compressor. And the reason why I like the upward compressor is because the way it compresses, basically when anything is under a certain threshold, it'll bring that stuff up, which is exactly what I want. So I like to use my upward compressor when it comes to compressing my reverbs. It allows me to bring out those nuances, those tails in the actual vocal sound. So those were my 3 tips to make your vocal sound a little bit more interesting, or a lot of bit for some of us if you're being stylistic and doing what you want. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you follow us at Help Me Devvon on the Instagram. Also, remember, you can visit us at helpmedevvon.info for some of our vocal presets, templates, vocal chains, and a bunch of other goodies. We have it for most DAWs, to be honest with you. And lastly, make sure you join our Discord community. I'll leave the description in the link below. I'll leave the link in the description below. And if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please, I'm in my comments all day. And until next time, you guys.